Brody, Dory Jr., both masks of blood. Brody and Dory Jr. Forearm uppercuts by Dory Funk Jr.
Get ready for action with Volume 6 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick. Anytime promoter Sam Muchnick put a wrestler into a main event in St. Louis, that star was guaranteed top billing around the globe. The St. Louis main event was a prize to fight for. The competition was fierce. Back in the early 1980s, two very talented wrestlers were battling their way up the ladder. So first, let's take a look at Crusher Blackwell and then Cowboy Bob Orton.
In a match with Bill Stiles, huge Crusher Blackwell made a quick name for himself on Wrestling at the Chase. Blackwell tips the scales at 480 pounds.
Drop kick by Blackwell. Oh, do you believe that? Blackwell came out with a drop kick and nearly took off Stiles' head. Blackwell whips Stiles into the corner, retreats. Where's Blackwell? Look at this! Oh my goodness! Blackwell!
Good time, Matilda.
Oh, Blackwell just made Stiles part of the ring post. Forearm smash by Blackwell. Oh, a knee drop to the back of Stiles. Get ready in the emergency room unless Stiles can turn things around. A diving headbutt into the back by Blackwell. Oh my goodness. 482 pounds flying around that ring like a jet. I wonder what the air controllers think of that when they see it on their radar screen. Oh. Blackwell lifting Stiles, retreating to the ropes. Oh, look out. Oh. Stiles just mashed into the mat. And that's it. The running body slam by Crusher Blackwell.
As awesome as Blackwell is, he ran into tough sledding thanks to classy Dewey Robertson during a handicap tag bout. Robertson's partner was Tom Malley.
Robertson reaching out for Malley. Malley unable to make the tag. Blackwell lifts Malley with a body slam. Blackwell retreating, takes to the elbow leg drop. Oh. I think I can safely describe that as a giant leg drop. Count of one. Oh, Blackwell wouldn't pin him. Blackwell could have pinned him, and he wouldn't do it. He wanted to hurt him. Blackwell could have pinned him there, and he wouldn't do it. Robertson with a fist clench, staring at Blackwell. Blackwell again refusing to pin the man. Robertson yells in at the other referee, why don't you stop him? The man may be hurt. Blackwell strutting. And again, Blackwell and Robertson yell at one another, and the referee chases Dewey Robertson back to the corner. How do you like that, says Crusher Blackwell. Malley, really groggy. I think Blackwell could have pinned him before and just refused to do it. Oh, running body slam by Blackwell. This could be it. Oh, tag's made. A tag was made, and Robertson comes into Blackwell. Looked like Blackwell had him down, and Robertson was tagged in. Blackwell got in the wrong corner after that running body slam. Headbutt by Blackwell knocks Robertson out of the ring. Oh, Blackwell's going out after him. Blackwell going out of the ring after Dewey Robertson. Blackwell pounds on Robertson outside the ring. Another smash by Blackwell and Dewey Robertson outside the ring. A shot to the stomach by Blackwell. Blackwell, a forearm smash. Robertson trying to keep his feet. Blackwell, oh, he tried to run him into the post. Robertson stopped it and slammed Blackwell head first into the post, and Blackwell doesn't even seem phased. Robertson and Blackwell battling outside the ring. I think the referees reached the count of 20. Blackwell again run head first into the ring post by Dewey Robertson, and Blackwell not even moving. Robertson grabs a chair, and we have a confrontation outside the ring between Robertson and Blackwell, who I do believe are both counted out outside the ring. Tom Malley, he's out of the picture. The crowd starting to yell, Dewey, Dewey, Dewey. The referee's trying to keep Robertson and Blackwell apart. Now Blackwell grabs a chair. Blackwell grabbing a chair. And Robertson and Blackwell beating himself in the head with the chair, as though to tell Robertson, you can't hurt my head. That guy is rather unbelievable. Now Robertson offering a challenge to Blackwell. The referee's trying to keep them apart. Well, let's go to Mickey. Well, maybe we won't, because Blackwell trying to get back in, and Eddie Smith and Lee Warren have their work cut out, keeping these two apart. Robertson wanting a piece of Blackwell, daring him to come into the ring.
Welcome to Wrestling at the Chase, the opening bout, a one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Amarillo, Texas, weighing 235 pounds, Mark Romero. From Kansas City, Kansas, weighing 245 pounds, Cowboy Bob Orton, referee Lee Warren.
Quite a match on tap here as Mark Romero squares off with Cowboy Bob Orton. Orton and Romero, both second-generation wrestlers. Mark's father, Ricky. Of course, Bob's father, Bob Orton Sr. Bob Orton Sr. now living in Las Vegas, comes into Kansas City now and then, too. Cowboy Orton pops Romero with a forearm. Mark Romero starts to come after Bob Orton with Romero's fist clenched. And Cowboy Orton pointing out, I used my elbow. Of course, he ignores the fact that he did it on the break that was supposed to be clean. Side headlock by Orton. He carries Romero over the hip. Romero counters the head scissors on Cowboy Bob Orton. Nice move by young Mark Romero. Orton tries to kick out. Romero squeezes the head and bounces that head of Cowboy Orton. Orton squirming around on the mat. He gets into position where Romero's shoulders are down, and Romero has to strain to get the shoulder up and still hold the head scissors at the same time. Romero with the hold, but in a vulnerable position there. Cowboy Orton. Oh, Orton trying to straighten up, trying to get Romero's shoulders on, and Orton lifts Romero. You talk about power. Nice move by Romero. Reverse rolling cradle. Count of one. Romero over the hip, but Orton pops free. Flying head scissors by Mark Romero. Well, some dandy wrestling on the behalf of both men there. Cowboy Orton showing a lot of muscle, a lot of strength as he picked up Romero from a very awkward position, but then Romero countering with a reverse rolling cradle, and he ended up in very good position with that reverse rolling cradle, but Orton managed to get free. Then Romero caught him with the flying head scissors. Orton trying to kick out. Orton very close to the rope, but not quite close enough. At least not close enough as far as Cowboy Bob Orton is concerned. Orton reaches out for that rope now, gets his foot on the rope, and the referee not calling for a break. He's saying, I'm sure Lee Warren is feeling that Orton not clearly entangled in those ropes. Orton barely able to touch the ropes, of course, with that boot. Orton does a headstand, comes up on top of Romero again, where Romero's shoulders are close to the mat. You can see Romero squeezing that head, though, and Romero manages to maintain the head scissors on Cowboy Bob Orton. Romero in control right now. And, of course, the key thing to him being in command at this point was the fact that he was able to counter a very good move by Orton. Orton gets his knee up against the ankles of Romero. He might be able to pop that head out. Here comes the head up. Cowboy Orton, by planting the ankles of Romero down, gets the head out of the head scissors. He had a side headlock, but only briefly. Romero pulled Orton back into the head scissors, and you can kind of see Orton's arms sag a little bit. Now he looks for that bottom rope. The referee not impressed. Orton now entangled in that rope, and Lee Warren calls for a break from Mark Romero. Orton staying close to the ropes, wanting to buy a little time, regain his composure, and perhaps plan his attack against Mark Romero, who so far looking very, very sharp. Orton taking his time, trying to change the momentum of the match, and he catches Romero with a knee lift into the stomach. Cowboy Orton, not without unable to keep Romero down, and now Romero tries to fight back. Romero pounding on Cowboy Bob Orton. Romero tosses Orton into the corner. Orton catapulted into that corner upside down. His ankle trapped around the top turnbuckle, and Romero pounds on him till the ankle pops loose. Mark Romero with a blast to the stomach again and again and again. Orton hurting right now. Romero with a body slam on Cowboy Bob Orton. Leg drop by Romero on Orton. Romero covers Orton. Count of one, count of two. And Orton kicks free, getting the shoulder up. Knee drop to the head by Mark Romero on Cowboy Orton. Count of one, Orton again. Busts loose. He had those forearms up underneath Romero. Good instinctive thinking by Orton. Oh, and did Orton ever just nail Romero with an uppercut? Romero staggered clear across the ring. Orton lifts Romero, takes him up to shoulder level. He could be thinking slam, he could be thinking backbreaker. Look at that power. Backbreaker by Orton. The backbreaker by Cowboy Bob Orton.
10 minutes have expired, 5 minutes left.
5 minutes remaining in the curtain raiser on Wrestling at the Chase. Orton slams Romero head first into the top turnbuckle. Hot and heavy action, really a special attraction when you consider the caliber of these two athletes. Romero blocks that thrust into the corner, and then he slams Orton's head down into the top turnbuckle. Romero again bouncing Orton's head into the top turnbuckle. Mark Romero goes on the offensive against Cowboy Orton. Orton taking his lumps, and he's feeling the effects of the onslaught of Mark Romero. Romero with that tomahawk chop. Forearm uppercut lands home, delivered by Mark Romero. Orton fights back with a punch of his own, but Romero getting the better of it right now. Orton, a tough cookie, hanging in there, and Orton comes up with an elbow smash to the head. Romero whips Orton into the buckles. Romero comes charging in, flying head scissors by Mark Romero on Cowboy Orton. Romero again to the air. Oh, Orton ducks, and Romero lands right on the top buckle. His abdomen taking the full thrust of all that momentum. And now Orton going up in the air, hooking the head. Oh, he's in perfect position for that super suplex. Orton with a super suplex. And Cowboy Bob Orton covering Romero. Count of 1, 2, and 3. Cowboy Bob Orton using his head. I have to give him credit. Romero tried one flying head scissors too many. Orton managed to sidestep, and we're going to take another look at it to show you exactly how it happened that Cowboy Bob Orton came up with this impressive and important victory over Romero. Here's Romero going for the head scissors. Orton ducks. Romero jammed down on the top turnbuckle, his own momentum, landing right on that buckle. And you can bet that when Orton turned around and saw Romero hanging there, he thought, oh boy, Christmas came early this year. Orton going right up on the second rope, pulls Romero to him, hooks the head, and Cowboy Bob Orton from that position, nobody's going to stop him from there. Orton with a super suplex. Now let's go to the ring and Mickey Garagiola.
11 minutes and 48 seconds. The super suplex, the winner, Cowboy Bob Orton.
Both internationally and in St. Louis, two of the most famous wrestling stars ever were Dory Funk Jr. and King Kong Brody. Anytime St. Louis fans saw that either Brody or Dory Jr. were going to be in a main event, they knew that it would be excitement from start to finish. But amazingly, Dory Funk Jr. and King Kong Brody never met head-to-head in St. Louis. But thanks to the tape library of Herb Simmons, we have a classic match from Tokyo, Japan, between none other than King Kong Brody and Dory Funk Jr.
It's Dory Funk Jr., Tokyo, Japan. Very ceremonial openings to the match, as you can see the streamers flying through the air. You can also see the young wrestlers who were training at the dojos for All Japan Pro Wrestling coming around the ring because they too wanted to see this match. In case you're curious, that says Dory Funk Jr. versus King Kong Brody. Brody being checked by referee Joe Higuchi, one of the most famous referees in the history of wrestling around the world. So this was a big match. Dory Funk Jr. against King Kong Brody. You can see Buck Robley in the ring taking a look. Robley was a friend of King Kong Brody's, sometimes served as an advisor. Not really there as a manager, though, and anybody who saw Brody wrestle knows that King Kong Brody hardly needed a manager. He could pretty much take care of himself. The crowd barking at Brody, Brody barking back at them. He was an icon in Japan. One reason Brody was so popular in Japan was he took the time to sit and talk with fans. He took the time to sit and talk with the journalists, talk slowly, make sure he was understood. If there were questions, he tried to answer them as best he could, considering the language difficulties. Dory Funk Jr. was much the same. The Funk brothers, Dory Jr. and Terry, were famous in Japan. So this was a Hall of Fame battle between Brody and Dory Jr. Both men being very cautious early in the match, eyeing each other. They know what they have at stake here. It's a big international battle. Yet these guys both came into wrestling down in West Texas, around Amarillo, Canyon, Texas. Dory Jr., he went to West Texas State University, as did Brody, when he was involved in football before he played briefly with the Washington Redskins and then Canadian League football. Dory Jr. pushing Brody into the corner. Higuchi calling for a break. Brody turning his body so he can't take a punch in the jaw. Very careful, very cautious, knowing the ring. Dory Funk Jr. is one of the real scientific wrestlers who eventually became very adept at brawling. He was one tough cookie. Of course, you spend 4 years as the world heavyweight champion, as Dory Funk Jr. did. You learn a lot. You learn how to take care of yourself because you're a target. You're all alone. You're by yourself. And Dory Funk Jr. was from 1969 to 1973. Off the ropes, leapfrog by Brody, drop kick by King Kong Brody. Did you see that? Great athleticism by Brody, and then he boots Dory Jr. right out of the ring. A leapfrog and a drop kick by a man who weighs at that point about 285 pounds. What an athlete. King Kong Brody pulling off a move on Dory Funk Jr. Jr. actually needed a second to regain his composure. Even though he's familiar with Brody, they've scouted each other, they've seen each other, they've been in the ring in tag team matches. It's amazing. It's amazing as popular as both of these men were that they were never opponents in St. Louis. Brody missing with a big chop as Dory Jr. sidesteps. Brody didn't think too much of that. Bad aim. Dory Jr. It's still a chess match. Brody, Dory Jr. feeling each other out, looking for the weakness, looking for the spot they can attack. Side headlock by Brody on Dory Jr. Jr. bounces Brody off the ropes. Flying tackle by King Kong Brody. Hip toss by Dory Jr. Brody, careful. Dory Jr. knowing how to use that leverage. Brody, not an easy man to get off his feet. He understood balance, understood leverage. It wasn't often that you would see King Kong Brody taken off his feet, but Dory Funk Jr. did it right there with a perfectly executed hip toss. Side headlock, down goes Dory Jr. Brody using his body weight to lay across the chest and neck of Dory Jr., twisting that head a little, bringing it up, squeezing together the jaws, the cheeks of Dory Jr., making it hard for Dory Funk Jr. to breathe, trying to take away a little bit of the steam, a little bit of the stamina from Dory Jr. Off the ropes again. Oh, Brody hangs on. He had that head locked so securely that Dory Jr. couldn't even throw Brody off. Now the forearm up underneath the chin of Brody, but not enough leverage there to really push Brody off. The simple headlock can be so punishing. It can take something out of an opponent, and King Kong Brody knows it very well. Why make it complicated when you can make it simple? Squeeze the head, squeeze the jaws. Dory Jr. bridging, trying to get Brody's shoulders on the mat. Couldn't hold the bridge, though. Good move by Dory Jr. Made Brody think. Don't get lazy with it. Don't get too not careful enough. That's a complicated way to say it, but you have to be careful at every second. It only takes a moment, 3 seconds, to get a flash pin. And something like that can happen in a big match between big stars. Dory Jr. finding some room. bouncing that forearm into the rib cage of King Kong Brody. Ooh, another shot right into the lower ribs. Brody taking then the forearm uppercut from Dory Jr. He whips Brody across the ring and into the buckles. Dory Jr. using that educated forearm right in the perfect spots. Forearm uppercut again by Dory Funk Jr., a move that Dory Jr. initiated years back when he was the world heavyweight champion. Snapping that forearm right underneath the jaw of Brody. Brody slashes back with chops to the neck and a kick right into the chest. Ooh, double kick into the chest by King Kong Brody. Down goes Dory Funk Jr. To the air, Brody. Big body slam on Dory Funk Jr. using one of Dory's own weapons against him. When Dory Funk Jr. won the World Heavyweight title from Gene Kiniski back in 1969, before he clamped on the spinning toe hold that got the submission, a lot of people forget that Dory Jr. scored with 7 straight body slams on Gene Kiniski. He was literally rattling the ring. Fans at ringside said you could see the ring shake that Dory Jr. slammed Kiniski so hard. Kiniski had the championship for 3 years. He was worn out. The road was tough. Dory Jr. knew it, so he did something simple but so effective, the body slam. That actually was Brody using Dory Jr.'s body slam against him. Dory Jr. going for a suplex on Brody. Whoop, that's not going to work. Brody, good balance. Not coming up for Dory Funk Jr. Dory backs Brody to the ropes. Referee Joe Iguchi looking for a clean break. Not getting it from Brody. Brody lashes out. Brody made no mistake about it. He let everybody know, I'm my own man. This is a war inside the ring. This is the way I am. Whether you boo me, whether you cheer me, it really doesn't matter. This is what I have to do to survive. This is what I have to do to be on top. Brody, leg drop on Dory Funk Jr. Dory Jr. getting a little bit of trouble. Brody with a cover, but Dory Jr. kicks out. Now Brody clamping the chin again, trying to take away the breathing, the chance to get air into the windpipe by Dory Funk Jr. Simple but effective. King Kong Brody, very strong upper body, squeezing that head together. Dory Jr. twisting around, but he walks right into the side headlock by Dory Jr. Dory trying to take some of the pressure off by pushing against the chin of Brody. Against the ropes they go. Looking for a break. Dory Jr. hangs onto that arm. Elbow smash right to the chin of King Kong Brody. You can see him flexing his jaw, trying to make sure all his teeth were still there. A couple of forearm uppercuts by Dory Funk Jr. Dory lifts Brody. There's that big body slam by Dory Funk Jr. Don't ever underestimate how strong Dory Funk Jr. is. Dory Jr. double arm suplex, can't get him up. Brody blocking it, ducking his head. Dory Jr. wanted that double arm suplex badly. If he could have gotten that right there, Brody would have been shaken. Brody knew it, used the balance. You look at him, you say he's a wild man. He didn't think. But look at some of the things he's already done in this match with Dory Funk Jr. Dory Jr. was a thinker. He was always planning, plotting in that ring. But so far, Brody's been his equal in this match. Now it's a test of strength. That seems to play into Brody's hands. Dory Jr. down on his knees. Brody leaning into the wrist, the fingers of Dory Funk Jr. Bad leverage position there for Dory Jr. Dory needs to come out of that. Getting his hips away, trying to change the balance. Now he might be able to come back up against Brody. They're almost head to head. Dory Jr. doing a nice job coming back in this test of strength against King Kong Brody. Two of wrestling's greatest stars, King Kong Brody, Dory Funk Jr. Nice monkey flip by Dory Jr. He covers Brody, and Brody has to kick out. It was Brody's move to begin with, but Dory Jr. has taken it away from King Kong Brody at this point. Dory Jr. leaning in, and now it's Brody trying to get some leverage back. Just using pure, raw, brute power right there to bring Dory Jr. to Dory's knees. Look at that test of strength between Dory Jr. and Brody. As they come to their feet, Brody leaning into their wrists. Look how they're being pushed back on Dory Jr. That hurts, folks. Dory Jr., his wrist bent backwards by Brody, but Dory's able to come off with a drop kick. Oh, Brody knocked through the ropes and onto the apron by that drop kick from Dory Funk Jr. Brody trying to regain his bearings. That drop kick surprised him, and Brody sees the leg there. Look out. Brody dragging Dory Funk Jr. outside the ring and into the audience. Where's Brody going? Oh, into a chair, into a metal folding chair. Brody picking up a chair, drives it into the head of Dory Funk Jr. Oh, bangs the chair on top of Dory Funk Jr.'s head. Dory Jr. taken outside the ring by King Kong Brody, and now it is a Donnybrook. This is a melee, and this is something King Kong Brody excels at like nobody else. Brody was pounding on the head of Dory Funk Jr., picks up another chair, drives it into the throat of Dory Funk Jr. The crowd scattering as Higuchi tries to restore some order. The referee knowing nobody really wants to see a double countout. They want to see this thing finished in the ring. So Higuchi doing the right thing. Oh, look at Dory Jr.'s head split wide open. Dory Jr. bleeding as Joe Higuchi tries to bring the two men back into the ring where they can settle it inside the squared circle. But Dory Funk Jr. bleeding. He's been battered by King Kong Brody, and a kick right to the head of Dory Funk Jr. Dory trying to get into the ring, and it's not easy to do. Look at Brody. He smells it now. He knows that Dory Funk Jr. is in deep trouble, and kicked out of the ring one more time by King Kong Brody. Oh, the blood smeared all over the face of Dory Funk Jr. Higuchi checking the wound. He would stop the match if he thought the cut was too deep. Another kick to the head by King Kong Brody. He drives Dory Jr. to the top turnbuckle. Dory Jr. takes another kick to the chest. Dory Funk Jr. in deep, deep trouble against Brody. Throws a wild punch, not even close. Brody with a chop right to the top of the head. Brody hoisting Dory Jr. big body slam. King Kong Brody going outside the ring. Where's he going? Brody mounting the ropes, going to the top. The bloody Dory Funk Jr. underneath. Brody knowing that Dory Jr. could be ripe for the picking right here. This could be a big victory. Look out. Here comes Dory Jr. And he plucks Brody off the top rope with a body slam and stamps right on the forehead of King Kong Brody, Dory Funk Jr. That's why he was the world champion for 4 years. He's tough. Dory Funk Jr. fighting back against King Kong Brody, and Brody biting the wound of Dory Funk Jr., trying to regain the initiative in this match. Another chop to the throat puts Dory Funk Jr. on the mat. Brody covering. Count of one, count of two. And Dory Jr. kicks away. Pride at stake. Big money. Future main events. Reputation. Dory Funk Jr. has his head hooked by King Kong Brody. Suplex by Brody on Dory Funk Jr. A suplex, and Dory Jr. just sinking deeper and deeper into trouble. He tried to come back once, but he couldn't make it. And now Brody, the brute power of King Kong Brody, has damaged Dory Funk Jr. and Brody trying to finish him right now. Brody looking, poises that chop right to the top of the head. Dory Funk Jr. staggering and going down, trying to fight his way back. Look how badly he's bleeding. Dory Funk Jr. How he's hanging in there, it's nothing but a miracle. Try for a pin, count of two, and Dory Jr. slides out from underneath King Kong Brody. Brody must be getting frustrated. Ooh, do you see that boot? Do you see how high he had that leg as he put it right into the jaw of Dory Funk Jr.? That's one flexible athlete there in King Kong Brody, stomping on the head of Dory Funk Jr. Brody a little more careful now. He'd already been sailed off the top rope. This time he goes to the second rope, comes off with a big stomp, almost an atomic drop, shades of Dick the Bruiser onto the chest of Dory Funk Jr. Try for the pin. This could be it. Oh, Dory Funk Jr. Don't ever count out the courage of Dory Funk Jr., even against somebody as rowdy, as violent, as dangerous as King Kong Brody. Dory Jr. trying to fight back with those forearm uppercuts. They still sting. Ooh, that was right on the chin. Dory Jr. nailing Brody with another forearm uppercut. Dory Funk Jr. battling back, goes behind Brody. Brody moves to the ropes, sensed trouble there. Dory Jr. pounding away, hooking the head, trying for the suplex. He was blocked the first time he tried it, but this one, he gets Brody into the air. The suplex by Dory Funk Jr. on King Kong Brody. Is he looking? Yes, the spinning toe hold. The spinning toe hold by Dory Funk Jr. How he won the World Heavyweight Championship. And even Brody has to go to the ropes. to get a break from that spinning toe hold. Now that's going to take a toll on Brody. You take a big man's legs away, but Dory Jr. going outside the ring after Brody. He grabs Brody's head and slams him head first into the steel ring post. Brody slammed head first into the steel ring post by Dory Funk Jr. Dory grabbing Brody, slamming him into the press table. Brody being slammed into the press table by Dory Funk Jr. This is desperation now. It's a war. There's nothing to hold back on. Brody again slammed into the steel ring post, trying to get back into the ring. Dory Funk Jr. has battered King Kong Brody, and look at Brody, he's bleeding. Brody, Dory Jr., both masks of blood. Brody and Dory Jr., forearm uppercuts by Dory Funk Jr. Kikuchi trying to get everybody back. Dory Jr. pounding on Brody. Here's his opening. Wild punches by Dory Jr. and by Brody. Oh, that blow landed on Dory Jr. and on Joe Higuchi. Small package by Dory Funk Jr. to try for the pin. Where's the referee? Here comes Higuchi. Count of 2, and Brody breaks free. Both men bleeding, the blood all over the ring. Dory Jr. going for the Greco-Roman back body drop. Look at Brody. He blocks it. Brody blocks the Greco-Roman back body drop. Covers Dory Funk Jr. The count of 3. Dory Funk Jr. has been beaten by King Kong Brody. Dory Jr. going for that Greco-Roman back body drop. Here it is in slow motion. Look at Brody using the ropes, using the ring. A brilliant move by King Kong Brody, and it's Brody over Dory Funk Jr. What a war, what a match.
Think back to Volume 1 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. One of the highlights was when Ted DiBiase pinned World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race in a tag team match from 1978. That started a rivalry revolving around the gold belt that really hit its climax in 1981. On February 6, 1981 at Kiel Auditorium, Race and DiBiase were involved in a controversial duel. It led to promoter Sam Muchnick signing a return match at the Checkerdome for June 12, 1981. But what happened at Wrestling at the Chase on May 24th and May 31st was something that really turned up the heat in the rivalry between Race and DiBiase. Now, let's go back and take a look at Wrestling at the Chase from May 24th and May 31st, 1981.
Welcome to Wrestling at the Chase, the opening bout, an Australian tag team match, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Denton, Texas, weighing 248 pounds, Kerry Von Erich. From Boston, Massachusetts, weighing 271 pounds, Rufus R. Jones. From Newark, New Jersey, weighing 237 pounds, J.J. Dillon. And from Dunlap, Kansas, weighing 256 pounds, Bobby Jaggers. Referee, Lee Warren, Chuck Raleigh.
How's this for an opening bout? Kerry Von Erich and Rufus R. Jones against Bobby Jaggers and J.J. Dillon. Quite a tag team match. Kerry and Rufus consult with one another before Kerry squares off against Jaggers. Now Jaggers wants to talk to J.J. Dillon. Jaggers and Kerry circle. Kerry makes a dive for Jaggers' leg. You'll recall last weekend on Wrestling at the Chase, Kerry had Jaggers in some trouble with flying head scissors before Jaggers pitched Kerry over the top rope and got disqualified. Kerry rolls away, takes to the air for a drop kick that floors Jaggers, and Jaggers retreats to the corner. Jaggers takes a look around. Kerry Von Erich can do that to you with all the power and agility he has. He can take to the air for that drop kick without any warning. Just boom, up he goes. And that drop kick is flying. Kerry Von Erich flies off those ropes for the flying tackle. Leapfrog over the top. There's that drop kick again by Kerry Von Erich. Jaggers stunned. Flying elbow drop from Kerry. Kerry covers Jaggers. Count of 1, 2 at 2. Jaggers gets his foot on the bottom rope. Jaggers goes back into the corner and stays along the ropes. He may want to stay close to those ropes right now because out in the center of the ring, Kerry can really unleash those drop kicks. Jaggers would probably like to trap Kerry along the ropes in some manner if he could. Obviously, Jaggers has been thrown off balance by the high-flying tactics of Kerry Von Erich in the opening moments of the match. It's a side headlock by Kerry on Jaggers. Carey, a flying tackle, drops Jaggers again. A second flying tackle. Jaggers taking his lumps. Oh, Jaggers was waiting that time. He threw out the elbow and dumped Kerry Von Erich. A tag is made to J.J. Dillon. Jaggers hangs on to Kerry for Dillon, and Dillon kicks Kerry right in the stomach. Elbow smash to the neck by J.J. Dillon on Kerry Von Erich. There's a side headlock, and down goes Kerry. Kerry counters, tried to counter. Trying to come up with the head scissors. He at least has his own head free. Kerry's shoulders are down, and he has to strain. Rufus R. Jones yelling from outside the ring that Dillon is pulling the tights of Kerry. Dillon grabs the leg, twists the ankle. Dillon using his head, maybe trying to take some of the spring out of Kerry's legs. Slow him down a little bit, keep him on the ground. Kerry kicks Dillon away. Kerry rolls over to tag Rufus R. Jones. No love lost here between Rufus Jones and J.J. Dillon. Dillon stalls and tags. Rufus says it makes no matter to him whether it's Dillon or Jaggers. They tie each other up. Jaggers with an elbow smash to the head, and that did no good whatsoever. Rufus just laughs at Jaggers. Rufus pounds in the stomach of Bobby Jaggers. His elbow is a good deal more effective than that of Jaggers, and Jaggers is caught in the corner by Rufus R. Jones. Down goes Bobby Jaggers. Wrong corner, Bobby. Kerry says, I'll tag you. He comes in the ring and belts Jaggers. Down goes Jaggers again. Bobby Jaggers having a rough day on Wrestling at the Chase. Count of 2 before Jaggers gets away from Rufus, and then Rufus hooks the head of Bobby Jaggers. The crowd loves it. That's bound to be a popular combination. Rufus R. Jones and Kerry Von Erich. Rufus twisting Jaggers' head, squeezing. Rufus tags Kerry Von Erich. Kerry comes in and twists the arm of Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers didn't realize a tag was made. Kerry Von Erich leaning into that arm, and then Jaggers reaches up to gouge the eyes. All that does is infuriate Kerry Von Erich, but it does allow Jaggers to make a tag with wily J.J. Dillon. Dillon daring Kerry Von Erich to test the strength. Dillon and Von Erich testing muscles against one another. Kerry up on the second rope. Jaggers yelling at him. Where's Kerry Von Erich going? Look at that. Walking right across the top rope, leaping into the ring, and pulling Dillon down. Oh, spectacular move by Kerry Von Erich. Oh, that takes courage. Even Jaggers, I think, is surprised at that. Jaggers complaining that the referee shouldn't have let Kerry Von Erich climb the ropes. He says nobody else is allowed up there. It's because hardly anybody else can get there without falling off, I think.
5 minutes have elapsed, 5 minutes left.
Now Jaggers is upset with referee Lee Warren because he was arguing with Warren. Dillon came over to tag, and Jaggers didn't get there in time. I don't want to talk to these guys, says Bobby Jaggers. Nothing has gone right for Mr. Jaggers in the first 5 minutes of this match. Rufus R. Jones twisting the arm of J.J. Dillon. The crowd urges Rufus to twist it some more, and there's a headbutt right into the shoulder. Ouch! Down goes Dillon. Now Rufus pokes that knee right into the shoulder of J.J. Dillon. Good leverage there by Rufus R. Jones. Dillon tried to kick his way away from the knee of Rufus, but Rufus has that arm tied up perfectly, using his own knee to help make the arm bar more effective. Rufus drags Dillon away from Jaggers. No tag there. Dillon trying to kick his way over to Jaggers for a tag. Jaggers trying to drag him over. Hook out! And Jaggers pulled right into the ring when Dillon was pulled to the center of the ring by Rufus R. Jones. Bobby Jaggers must have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Jaggers in the corner complaining. This time he makes a tag with Dillon. Rufus unaware of the tag, caught from behind by Bobby Jaggers. Jaggers and Dillon double teaming Rufus R. Jones. Flying mare by Bobby Jaggers. And then Jaggers ties up the head of Rufus. Jaggers and Dillon want to change the momentum in this match. It's been all Kerry Von Erich and Rufus R. Jones so far. Jaggers yelling something to J.J. Dillon. Dillon urges his partner to squeeze that head.
Three minutes left, 3 minutes.
3 minutes remain in the curtain raiser. It's Kerry Von Erich and Rufus R. Jones against Bobby Jaggers and J.J. Dillon. An elbow smash right between the eyes. And then Jaggers gouging the eyes of Rufus R. Jones. Rufus catches Jaggers in the stomach, but Jaggers hangs in it. Oh, that headbutt did a job on Bobby Jaggers, but Jaggers tagged Dillon. Dillon goes up on the second rope, tries to dive down, and Kerry Von Erich gets in the way. Kerry Von Erich coming to the rescue of his partner, Rufus R. Jones. It's a good thing that Kerry Von Erich intervened there because Rufus was a sitting duck for J.J. Dillon, but Kerry got in there and protected his partner, Rufus. Dillon pushes Rufus into the corner. Twists the arm. Arm whipped by Dillon. Look out! Oh, Dillon reversed into that corner. Flying tackle by Rufus. The freight train is rolling now. Here comes Jaggers. There goes Jaggers. Rufus tosses Jaggers into the buckles. Off he comes. Headbutt by Rufus. The headbutt by Rufus R. Jones. He covers Jaggers. Count of 1, 2. Oh, and there's Jaggers' leg on that rope. Jaggers getting his leg on the rope. It looked like curtains for Bobby Jaggers. Kerry Von Erich puts up the knee. He catches Jaggers in the ribs. Here comes Kerry. Kerry goes for the iron claw, but Jaggers blocks it. Jaggers blocking the iron claw. He certainly doesn't need to have the claw on him after taking a headbutt. Kerry straining, trying to get that claw on, and he exposes his stomach to Jaggers, who took advantage of it. Give me your knee, yells Jaggers. Instead, he gets the boot, but it's just as effective, and a tag is made to J.J. Dillon. Kerry trapped in the corner by Dillon and Jaggers.
1 minute left, 1 minute.
1 minute remaining. Dillon pounding on Kerry Von Erich. Leapfrog over the top by Kerry. Oh, the drop kick. Dillon tried to get away, couldn't quite get out of the line of fire. Flying mare by Kerry Von Erich. To the air. Oh, the flying elbow drop misses. Dillon rolled away. Here comes Jaggers. Dillon trying to get the fresh man in there to follow up after Kerry Von Erich missed the flying elbow drop. Kerry comes flying off the ropes. Jackknife. Cradle. The cradle by Kerry Von Erich. Dillon there to break up a potential pin. And Dillon staying in that ring. There's Rufus after J.J. Dillon. Rufus pounding on Dillon. Kerry Von Erich and Jaggers toe-to-toe. Jaggers knocked to the corner. Dillon slammed headfirst into the turnbuckle by Rufus R. Jones. Rufus running Dillon to the other corner to slam his head in. Kerry grabs the arm of Jaggers. Jones pounding on Dillon. There's the bell, and there go Jaggers and Dillon for a head-on collision right in the middle of the ring. But it won't matter. The time limit has expired. This match is officially a draw, sending Jones and Kerry Von Erich against Dillon and Jaggers. Let's make it official and hear from ring announcer Mickey Garagiola.
With time running out, referee declares this match a draw. The first main event, a one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Omaha, Nebraska, weighing 246 pounds, Missouri State Champion Ted DiBiase. From San Carlos, Arizona, weighing 232 pounds, Chief Thundercloud, referee Lee Warren.
Chief Thundercloud removes his Indian regalia before squaring off with the Missouri State Champion, Ted DiBiase. DiBiase and Thundercloud circle. Ted with a size advantage on Thundercloud, taller and heavier. Ted is very tall, of course, about 6'4", maybe almost 6'5". And that height is something that Ted knows how to use to his advantage. Really, he's the prototype of the modern professional wrestler. Tall, lean, strong, very quick, very smooth, very versatile. Thundercloud pulling forward on the head of Ted DiBiase. Ted reaching for the leg. Thundercloud gets the leg away and tosses DiBiase down. Ted comes up, Very wary of Thundercloud. He wants to feel the man out, see where his strengths are, look where the weaknesses are. Nice takedown by DiBiase. They're in the ropes, though, and DiBiase breaks cleanly on Thundercloud. Thundercloud with a little grab for the leg, but DiBiase was too quick. DiBiase goes behind Thundercloud, takes him down nicely. DiBiase on top of Thundercloud after that real good takedown. Give him 2 points for that one. Ted, very well grounded in the fundamentals. He is solid in all aspects of professional wrestling. DiBiase keeping an eye on Thundercloud. Still probing, still feeling, still looking. Side headlock by Thundercloud on DiBiase. DiBiase bounces Thundercloud to the ropes. Flying tackle by the Chief. He hits the ropes again. Oh, DiBiase waiting with a hip toss. Arm drag by Ted DiBiase. And there is that Missouri State title belt. An honor that Ted DiBiase won from strongman Ken Patera. He's defended it so well against people like Buzz Tyler and Big John Studd and Ox Baker. Fireman's carry by DiBiase. And most recently, DiBiase with a tremendous victory in a truly sensational match against Nature Boy Ric Flair. What a battle that was. And that victory not only allowed DiBiase to keep the Missouri State Championship, but it also earned him that crack at the gold belt. The big one, the gold. Ted DiBiase going for the gold that belongs to Harley Race. Thanks to that triumph over Nature Boy Ric Flair. And it must make Race wonder a little bit, because Race went to a 1-hour draw with Ric Flair, and Race was in trouble at the final bell only 3 weeks before DiBiase defeated Nature Boy Ric Flair. Race didn't pin him. He couldn't pin him, not that time, but Ted DiBiase did, and that's something that must worry Harley Race. Getting in a ring anytime with Ted DiBiase has to worry Race or any opponent. Knee drop into the bicep by Ted DiBiase on Chief Thundercloud. So far, a very scientific match. Hammerlock now by DiBiase on Thundercloud. Thundercloud reached underneath for the leg. Ted kept it back. Look at the balance DiBiase has, keeping those legs spread. Oh, Thundercloud pulled the hair to break the hammerlock, and Lee Warren, the referee, cautions Thundercloud. That game was a bit of a surprise to DiBiase because they've been testing holds and balance all along. Wrist lock by Thundercloud on DiBiase. Down goes DiBiase. Did he pull the hair? Boy, DiBiase sure went down fast. We couldn't see from this vantage point. We had about the same look at it the referee did. Doesn't matter because DiBiase puts Thundercloud down with an arm lock. Lee Warren checks with Thundercloud. Thundercloud will not submit. You know, another thing that has to concern Race about DiBiase right now, you know how DiBiase finished off Flair was with the suplex. Harley Race's own most reliable weapon. Thundercloud tries to toss DiBiase across the ring. It doesn't work. Oh, Thundercloud tried to kick DiBiase. DiBiase pulled away, scores with an elbow drop, but he cannot keep Thundercloud down. Once more, DiBiase uses that fireman's carry to good advantage and yanks back on the arm, stretching it out, putting pressure into the elbow and into the shoulder. Thundercloud says he will not give up. Ric Flair couldn't believe he'd lost. It was a shock to him when he went down to defeat at the hands of Ted DiBiase. But he sure has the chance to redeem himself, doesn't he? Not only in that giant 18-man Wrestle Royal, but also in a simply unbelievable tag match with a partner by the name of Ken Patera as they go against the Dream Duo, Dusty Rhodes and Dick the Bruiser. Thundercloud with a series of tomahawk chops to the chest and throat of DiBiase. Another chop to the throat of DiBiase. And Ted trying to catch his breath. Thundercloud staying on top of the Missouri State champion, pounding. Oh, DiBiase blocks it.
5 minutes have passed, 15 minutes left.
DiBiase doing some chopping of his own and then an elbow underneath the chin of Chief Thundercloud. To the air and a body slam from Ted DiBiase. He covers Thundercloud, but only a count of one. There's a good friend of promoter Sam Muchnick, Tommy Alou. Also his buddy, Nick Leone. Oh, the falling body slam by Ted DiBiase. DiBiase with a spinning toe hold and into the figure four leg lock. The figure four leg lock by the Missouri State champion on Chief Thundercloud. And Thundercloud submits that figure four leg lock, a devastating weapon. You know, it was the figure four leg lock that DiBiase used on Ken Patera that caused Patera knee damage, and Patera had to have knee surgery. So that figure four leg lock is something to stay away from. Thundercloud could not, and DiBiase is the winner. Here's Mick.
in 5 minutes and 29 seconds with the figure 4, the winner, Missouri State champion, Ted DiBiase.
Nobody who saw it will ever forget the last time Harley Race defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Ted DiBiase. Let's join the first fall action between Race and DiBiase, a match nobody will ever forget, least of all Ted DiBiase and Harley Race. This is the first fall. You see Harley Race scoring with that knee drop across the head of Ted DiBiase. Race grabbing Ted's head, straightening him up, pounding on the face with a hard punch. DiBiase staggering backwards, Harley lifting him to the air, and watch this move, a standing pile driver, something Harley Race uses tremendously well, something he hasn't used until just recently, the standing pile driver. The referee makes the count, and the first fall went to the world champion, Harley Race. DiBiase badly stunned, but in the second fall, DiBiase took charge. He arm whips Race into the corner, throwing him in there, but Race comes off punching. Side headlock on the Missouri State champion. DiBiase lifts Race to the air and drives Race's knee into Ted's own knee. Spinning toe hold by DiBiase and into the figure 4 leg lock. The figure 4 leg lock by Ted DiBiase. Race realizing the damage that can be done with that crippling hold. Race trying to hang on, but knowing there's still another fall to go. Race submits, and the second fall went to Ted DiBiase. It was one fall apiece. Now, get ready for the third fall. Unbelievable action throughout the match. They have been going at it hot and heavy for close to half an hour altogether, and there's a body drop into the leg of Race. Race, knowing his knees are hurting, knowing he's in trouble, he has to stay away from that figure 4 at all costs. He has to find an opening. He wants that gold belt more than anything in the world. He's had it for over 4 years. He won't give it up unless he is broken. There's the spinning toe hold. DiBiase straining on it, putting pressure into that knee. Again, the spinning toe hold by DiBiase on Race, trying to make Race give up, but at least if nothing else to punish that leg, to soften the leg and make it a little bit easier if he can get the figure 4 on the world champion. Once more, DiBiase spins around with that leg, twisting the toe, the ankle, the knee. DiBiase, though, catches a punch to the face from Harley Race. Race would do anything to keep that gold belt. He's said it before, and he's proven it. He will do anything to keep the title. DiBiase and Race both staggering to their feet, feeling the wear and tear of this tremendous match. Race with the one-arm backbreaker, dropping DiBiase after the backbreaker. You can see the wear and tear on both men now. Race trying to get over and cover DiBiase. The referee gets down to make the count. DiBiase kicks out with all his strength and drops Race, all 252 pounds, across the back of referee Charles Venator. Venator stunned. The wind knocked out of him. Race comes to his feet. DiBiase sees Race, an easy target. Flying tackle, he misses. Race stepped aside, and DiBiase knocks Venator right out of the ring next to the announcer stand. DiBiase knocking the referee out of the ring with that flying tackle. Venator was on his back as DiBiase and Race slug it out right above the referee. Race ducks beneath DiBiase and throws him over the top rope, nearly on top of the referee. Venator saw it. That was where the disqualification came, but the referee, stunned outside the ring, was unable to make a call. Another referee, Lee Warren, saw the action from the back, saw the referee stunned, started making his way through the crowd. He didn't see what happened. And there's Race trying for the suplex. DiBiase behind him. Back suplex. Lee Warren, not realizing the throw over the top rope, he gets down to make a count of 3. And everybody, almost everybody in that building at this point thinks that Ted DiBiase is the world heavyweight champion. The place went berserk. Everybody standing and screaming. But then, as you can see, Venator had called for the bell just at the instant that referee Lee Warren made a count of 3. Myself, who I was doing the ring announcing, talking with the two referees, Venator explaining that he saw the man go over the top rope. He has no choice but to disqualify Race. That means, since the title cannot change hands on disqualification, that Harley Race will keep the gold belt. But nobody in that building really realized that. DiBiase exulting down on his knees. He's so happy, and Race just stunned, disbelieving, not knowing what had happened. The referee's trying to explain the situation now. Venator goes over and raises DiBiase's hand. Yes, he was the winner by disqualification. But Harley Race kept the gold belt because that's why it came. That pin did not count. We try to explain the situation to the fans. Race holding the gold belt up, staggering to the ropes, escaping with the gold belt by the skin of his teeth. Ted DiBiase in shock as he realizes what has happened. He realizes the disqualification came first, but in the heat of the battle, well, who stops to think about it? Who can think about something like that? All you know is you're in a battle for your life, a battle for the biggest prize in wrestling. And Ted DiBiase missing it by just a bit. What a bitter disappointment. Referee Venator trying to explain the situation to DiBiase, and gentleman that he is, sportsman that he is, Ted DiBiase knew it was the right call. He realizes it, shakes hands with the referee.
Make a main event a one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing from Indianapolis, Indiana, weighing 235 pounds, Spike Hubert. From Kansas City, Missouri, weighing 252 pounds, the world heavyweight champion, Harley Race.
The gold belt is handed to referee Chuck Riley by the title holder, Harley Race. And Race squares off with Spike Huber. Spike Huber, what an opportunity for him against a world champion. Race lifts Huber, body slam by the champion. Race right on top of Huber. Oh, small package by Huber. This could be it. He has him all tied up. Oh, at the count of two, Race pops the leg out. And Race checking with the referee to make sure that he got out of there at 2 and not 3. Race, surprise, looking over. Spike Huber is quite a handful for anybody. He's been proving that, getting better and better every time out, getting a lot of main events throughout the Midwest. And he's deserving each and every one. The son-in-law of Dick the Bruiser. And he has obviously learned well from the Bruiser, although his tactics, I think you could say, are somewhat different. But he can get rough. He can duke it out if it comes to that. Side headlock by Race, but not for long. Huber with a hip toss. Oh, Race staggered. Huber lifts the world champion. Body slam by Spike on Harley Race. Side headlock. Down goes the kingpin. Count of 1, and Race lifts that shoulder off the mat. You know, of course, Harley Race had a bit of a scare, to say the least. Race lost the title to Tommy Rich in Augusta, Georgia on April 27th and regained the crown from Rich in Gainesville, Georgia on May the 1st. Of course, Race was invoking a clause that he wants in almost every contact, guaranteeing an immediate rematch. Sam Muchnick flatly refused to give Race this condition for the match with Missouri State King Ted DiBiase. According to Muchnick, such a condition is absolutely ridiculous, and that is a direct quote from promoter Sam Muchnick. Not that Muchnick would not give a dethroned champion a rematch with the new title holder, but it's just that Muchnick feels his hands should not be tied as to the date, and that he feels a new champion has a right to get a chance to settle in before he squares off once more with the man he knocked off the throne. So, if DiBiase takes the gold belt from Race, Harley's going to have to wait for any chance to remove DiBiase, and in fact may have to earn the right to a rematch. Race forced Huber to the ropes. Huber tried to turn him. Harley, very strong, keeps Huber on those ropes, scored with a knee lift. Huber, though, grabs the head of the champion. Race keeping Huber on those ropes, leaning into him. That's something that is very much underestimated about Harley Race, is his power. He has unbelievable natural strength. If he stays on top of someone and can get the right leverage, I think he can put anybody down with just pure muscle. And Huber, with some muscle of his own, blocks the side suplex and scores the side suplex of his own on Race. Huber pulling back on the head of Race, and Race groans out, no, he will not submit to Chuck Riley. To me, in a decisive fall, it's almost unthinkable to believe that Harley Race would give up if it meant the gold belt. It could happen, I guess, if there was enough damage done, but it would take a tremendous amount of punishment to beat that man down, Harley Race. I don't think there's ever been a tougher champion. Ted DiBiase knows it, and he's willing to do what he has to break that man, to break Harley Race, to take the title from Race. DiBiase knows what a chore it is. There is the gold belt. There is what it's all about, the biggest prize in wrestling. That belt, symbolic of the world title, a world title that dates back to people like Frank Gotch and Jimmy Londas and Strangler Lewis and Joe Stecker and John Pisek, and more recently people like Lou Thez and Buddy Rogers and Whipper Billy Watson and Pat O'Connor and Gene Kiniski, and most recently the man who has it now, Harley Race. That's what everybody wants, the gold belt. It's Race's now. Ted DiBiase wants it. Race trying to bear hug Huber while Huber holds the side headlock. Harley again using his weight and size to push Huber to the ropes. Huber thrown away by the champion. Oh, Race tries a drop kick that misses. Huber outmaneuvering the champ. A drop kick right to the forehead by Huber. Right on the money. Body slam from Huber. Race bouncing from the force of that body slam. Side headlock, and down goes Race again. So far, an absolutely brilliant effort from Spike Huber. You couldn't ask for more from Spike Huber, using his strength, using his skills, keeping himself under control, and Race is having trouble with Huber. Race grabs the hair of the referee, slaps the hand away. Spike Huber punishing the head, twisting the neck of Harley Race.
5 minutes have passed, 10 minutes left.
Watch as Huber bounces that neck around. The neck always, of course, a vulnerable point on any wrestler. If you can tire the neck, hurt the neck, you have that man in a lot of trouble. Huber knows it. Race rolling Huber onto his shoulders, using the tights for a bit of extra leverage. He can't keep Huber on the mat, though.
You gotta like this Spike Huber.
Oh, what an effort he gives you. I'll tell you, you talk about 110% guys. Well, Hubert's a 150% guy. You never see him give less than his absolute best and a little more. Imagine what he's thinking today. Imagine how the adrenaline is pumping through his body today against the world champion. Cautious break, and then the headbutt by Race. I think Race knows how to use every part of his body as a weapon. He used the headbutt right there. A second headbutt by Race. Huber staggers down to one knee. Race going for the pile driver. Huber blocks it with a backflip. A back body drop by Spike Huber. And Race is covered by Huber. Race throws Huber off. It was worth a try. And Harley Race just looks a bit dazed right now. He's run into a buzzsaw, and the buzzsaw is named Spike Huber. Huber pulls back on Race's head. It's working for him. Naturally, he's going to go with it. Race has been able to get out of the headlock for a while, but not for long. Huber always finds a way to put him back in, and usually, after giving Race a pretty hard ride, after doing some damage to the world champion. Race, again, using that power to push Huber to the ropes. Even on his knees, he's strong. Headbutt into the abdomen by Harley Race. Race with the flying mare on Huber. Pushing that head down, lining Huber up and driving the knee into the forehead of Spike Huber. That hurts the knee, but I'll guarantee you it hurts the head a lot worse. Race covers Huber, can't keep him down. Race up first. Huber a bit dazed now, the shoes on the other foot. Reverse neck breaker by Harley Race. Talk about versatility. The world champion has it too. Race lining up Huber, takes the rope for a bit more momentum. A second knee drop to the forehead of Huber. That crowd screaming and then just silenced as soon as that knee bangs into the head of Huber. They'd love to see Huber put Race away. Huber thrown right through the ropes and out to the concrete floor by Harley Race. Race going out after him. Race knowing he's in a dogfight, and he goes out after Spike Huber. Race pops Huber right in the mouth. Harley Race. Oh, he's lining him up for a diving headbutt on the concrete floor, and he misses. Huber rolled away, and Race with the diving headbutt hit the concrete floor. Huber with an opening here. He lifts Race and pounds on the head of Race. You want a battle outside the ring? Don't forget who Huber's father-in-law is. Huber and Race roll into the ring. Race in trouble now after missing the diving headbutt and hitting the concrete floor. Huber pounds on the world champion. He covers the champion, cradles the leg. But Race, oh, is he tough. Race gets away, side headlock. Race throws Huber to the ropes. Flying tackle. Oh! Race trying to leapfrog over the top. A collision and both men going down. Huber and Race colliding right in the middle of the ring. The world champion spotting his prey, crawling towards Huber, but Huber's up. Flying tackle from Huber. Oh, he tried that flying scissors. Race stood tall, trying to block the flying scissors and cracked heads with Huber the second time in a row. They've rammed together, cracking together right in the center of the ring. What a battle this has turned into between Huber and Race. Knee lift by the world champion. Huber down. Race going outside the ring. Crawling up on the second rope. On the top rope. Huber spots him. Grabs him. Huber grabbing the world champion and throwing him into the center of the ring. Huber dives across Race. This could be it. No, Race throws off Huber. Huber again hits those ropes. Goes beneath Race. Oh, Race blocked it. lifts Huber to the air. Pile driver. Oh, what a pile driver by Race. Race blocking Huber's move, catching him with a tremendous pile driver. Huber trying to squirm away, but he can't do it. And Race with the pile driver. Oh, what a battle he had from Spike Huber. But Race caught Huber trying to go underneath, lifted him to the air, and scored with a vicious pile driver. Well, that's why he's the champion. Here's Mickey.
In 9 minutes and 44 seconds, the pile driver, the winner, the world heavyweight champion, Harley Race. The added attraction, most falls to curfew. Introducing from Phoenix, Arizona, weighing 236 pounds, Benny Romeo. And from Austin, Texas, weighing 265 pounds, the American Dream, former world's heavyweight champion, Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes, you asked for him, and promoter Sam Muchnick fulfills that wish. Dusty Rhodes, removing his colorful jacket. He came into the ring, went around outside the audience, kissed all the ladies, shook hands with all the men. And I'll tell you right now, he could run for mayor or president or anything he wanted to run for right here, and I think he'd be elected in a landslide. Dusty Rhodes, one of the most unique styles you're ever going to see, and Benny Romeo squares off with Dusty. Romeo pushes Rhodes to the corner. Lee Warren trying to break up Romeo, who throws a wild punch that misses. Rhodes had that big elbow up there ready to bang it into Romeo's head, and Romeo dived out of the ring. Dusty Rhodes, very strong, a lot of power there. We talked about versatility in the ring with people like Harley Race and Ted DiBiase. I'll tell you, Dusty Rhodes has some versatility of his own in all sports. When he was a youngster, he was signed by the New York Mets and played 1 year of minor league baseball. He also played a year of pro football with the New England Patriots. But wrestling was always his love, and this West Texas State graduate finally ended up in wrestling, and you know what he's done. Box office magic throughout the South and East. He drops Romeo, body drop right into the thigh, then Dusty scissors the ankle of Benny Romeo. Dusty twisting that ankle of Romeo. Romeo reached for the hair of Dusty Rhodes. There is one big, tough man. Is he the most colorful in wrestling? Could be. Can you imagine what it'll be like when he walks into the ring with Dick the Bruiser as his partner, and on the opposite side is the world's strongest man, Ken Patera, and a guy who thinks he's the most colorful, the most flamboyant, Nature Boy Ric Flair? That boggles the mind. Think of that. Rhodes and the Bruiser on the same team.
We're ready. 5 minutes left. 5 minutes.
5 minutes remain in the curfew. Whichever man has the most falls discredit when time runs out will be the winner. Dusty pulls Romeo to the center of the ring, then a standing leg split by Dusty Rhodes on Benny Romeo. There's a gentleman who would love to have that gold belt around his waist. Regardless of who has the title, Ted DiBiase or Harley Race, don't forget that Rhodes had the crown for about a week, and he too was a victim of that immediate rematch clause that Harley Race insists on in so many matches. Rhodes went into the rematch with Race after defeating Race with an arm injury. He really shouldn't have wrestled, but Rhodes wanted to fulfill his contract. He went in injured, and Race, always the opportunist, took advantage of it. And Harley Race regained the crown from Dusty Rhodes, but now Rhodes has had a taste of the gold belt. He wants another crack at the crown. Whether it's Race, whether it's DiBiase, whether it's Flair, whether it's Patera, whether it's the Bruiser, Dusty Rhodes doesn't care. Anything he has to do, anybody he has to beat, anyone he has to go through, he'll do it. Rhodes keeping the pressure on that ankle and that leg, punishing the leg of Benny Romeo. Romeo pulling back on the chin of Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes again twists that knee. And of course it bears repeating that Sam Muchnick has absolutely refused, totally rejected the idea of an immediate rematch clause for the bout between Race and DiBiase. So Race really has his back against the wall. Rhodes pounded to the corner by Benny Romeo, and Rhodes drives that elbow to the top of Romeo's head. A hard jab, and Dusty Rhodes starts flailing away at Benny Romeo. You want a battle? Rhodes does it, and he does it with flair, I should say. Rhodes again with that body drop into the thigh, and then scissors the ankle. A cut opened up between the eyes, over the right eye of Dusty Rhodes. An old wound, I'll tell you. Dusty's been through the wars. He likes a Donnybrook as much as anyone. He and the Bruisers should get along wonderfully. You can see all the battle scars on the head of Dusty Rhodes. Well, that's the price you pay sometimes when you're right at the top of the heap, when you draw the big money, when you're in the top matches, the lucrative matches. And Rhodes backs down from nobody. In which case, he should be very happy in that giant 18-man Wrestle Royal, the biggest Wrestle Royal ever in St. Louis. And the first time a Wrestle Royal has ever been on the same card as a World Championship match. 18 men in the ring at once. Think of that. People like Rhodes, Bruiser, Patera, Flair, Dick Murdoch, Kerry Von Erich, Rocky Johnson, Jack Briscoe, Bobby Heenan, Bulldog Bob Brown, Rufus R. Jones, Spike Huber, so many more. All 18 in the ring at once. A man eliminated when he is thrown over the top rope. The sole survivor in the ring, the winner. That is an all-star lineup. That's an understatement. You talk about the people that'll be in that Royal. There's the standing leg split again by Dusty Rhodes on Benny Romeo. I wonder what would happen if it came down to Rhodes and the Bruiser, the last two men in that ring. Think about that. What would happen if it came down to Patera and Flair? Or Flair and Murdoch? Or Jack Briscoe and Dusty Rhodes? Look at all those combinations that could come down to the last 2 or 3 men. All 18 in the ring at once.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
Romeo throws a punch at the head of Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes trying to concentrate on scientific wrestling against Romeo. Only once that Dusty's had to resort to Donnybrook style against Romeo to teach him a lesson. But right now, it looks like Romeo wants to pound on Rhodes. He has to protect that leg. He's had a lot of trouble with the leg thanks to Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes slashes right back at Benny Romeo. The American Dream, as they call him, pounds on Romeo. That cut trickling blood down the nose of Dusty Rhodes once more. Well, Romeo started it, but Dusty Rhodes pounding on him may finish it. He hooks the head. Underneath, and the suplex by Dusty Rhodes on Benny Romeo. The suplex on Romeo, count of 2, and Romeo gets that shoulder up.
1 minute left. 1 minute.
Rhodes with a side saddle suplex on Benny Romeo. Rhodes covers Romeo again, count of 1, 2. Romeo gets that shoulder off. He's trying to hang in there. The curfew time running out. Romeo trying to hang in, and Rhodes trying to finish him off. Oh, the elbow smash right to the jaw. Clotheslining Romeo. Dusty backs up. What have we here? The flying elbow drop. Oh, he smashes Romeo right into the mat, and Romeo's not getting up from that one. The flying elbow drop, riveting Benny Romeo right to the canvas. We check the clock. That's going to be it. The only fall within the curfew. Dusty Rhodes has it, and Dusty Rhodes is the winner. Here's Mickey.
With time running out, the winner of the only fall and the match, the American Dream, former world champion, Dusty Rhodes.
Nobody is quite like Dusty Rhodes, just one of the stars on Wrestling at the Chase today. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick. There's only one way to describe it. Dusty Rhodes has charisma. With every move he makes, with every victory he records, he does it in a style so unique, well, it could only belong to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. No wonder he's box office magic from coast to coast and one of the top contenders for the World Heavyweight Championship. Dusty Rhodes, here today on Wrestling at the Chase, and action begins following these messages.
Welcome to Wrestling at the Chase, the opening bout, a 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing, from Union City, Tennessee, weighing 242 pounds, David Oswald. From Austin, Texas, weighing 266 pounds, the American Dream, former world's heavyweight champion, Dusty Rhodes, referee Chuck Raleigh.
Dusty Rhodes tangled with David Oswald. How's that to open our wrestling program? Rhodes, the American Dream, Stardust himself, circles Oswald. Throws Oswald a little off balance just by making a few moves, a few feints. Shoves Oswald back. Oswald takes a long look at Dusty. They tie up. Flying mare by Rhodes. He pulls back on the chin with a chin lock. Dusty Rhodes twisting the head of David Oswald. Squeezing it. Those big forearms across the cheekbone and underneath the jawbone. Pulling the head together. Oswald has difficulty escaping from that position. Rhodes so strong, good balance on one knee, over the top, pulling back on that head. Oswald forced forward, and now it's a front face lock by Dusty Rhodes on David Oswald. Oswald stretched, his neck stretched out by Dusty Rhodes. Reaching inside, trying to break the grip of Dusty. Breaks the hold, twists the arm. Rhodes counters nicely. Flying mare again. And right back where he started is David Oswald. Compliments of Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes turns that head, putting pressure into the side of the neck. Dusty, a lot of pressure right along the jawbone right now. Oswald gets to his feet. Rhodes pulls back on that head. Oswald grabs the hair of Rhodes. Knee lift to the stomach by David Oswald. A forearm smash across the back of Dusty Rhodes by David Oswald. Rhodes fights right back in the big elbow smash. Dumps David Oswald. Dusty slams that forearm into the chest, knocking the wind out of Oswald and ending up at the same time with that head and chin lock, pulling back on the head. Let's get him, says the big D, Dusty Rhodes. Oswald forced over onto his side by the pressure being applied by Rhodes. Rhodes goes to the head scissors on David Oswald. Oswald trying to kick out. Rhodes squeezing that head on Oswald. Rhodes makes Oswald cry out. Oh, says Dusty Rhodes, that was good. We made him hurt. Let's do it again, says Dusty Rhodes. Squeezing that neck. Dusty Rhodes, I'll tell you, he is tough. He has a mean streak in him, and he certainly has color. When he gets rolling, those arms start flying, the legs begin flailing. Well, there's nobody quite like him. Whoops, says Rhodes, as Oswald tries to turn around, get in position to pop that head out. Rhodes squeezing tightly as much as he can, but Oswald lifted to the air by Dusty for one reason, so that Dusty can bounce Oswald right on top of the noggin. He didn't give Oswald a chance to get that knee into position on Rhodes' ankle so that Oswald could come out of the head scissors. Oswald trying to reach out with those legs for the ropes. Not quite close enough. Oswald gets his foot on the ropes. The referee not too terribly impressed, but Rhodes breaks cleanly. He knew the man was close enough to the ropes. He'd be entangled. Dusty ties up with Oswald. Oswald pushes Rhodes into the corner. And Oswald gouges the eyes of Rhodes. Oswald with a forearm smash to Dusty Rhodes' back. Another forearm smash from Oswald. He hits the ropes. Flying tackle. Rhodes stands his ground. Rhodes waiting, and he clotheslines Oswald. Rhodes flying off the rope. Giant elbow drop by Dusty Rhodes. Bang, bang, bang. Down goes Oswald. He's cradled. And Dusty Rhodes has a victory. I mean, just like that. Pow, like a rocket.
The beautiful air-conditioned Checker Dome plays host to one of the greatest wrestling cards in St. Louis history Friday, June 12th. Harley Race protects the World Heavyweight Championship and gold belt against Missouri State King Ted DiBiase in the main event June 12th. All of the other 18 standouts on the lineup tangle in a colossal Wrestle Royal. The Dream Duo, Dick the Bruiser and Dusty Rhodes, takes on strongman Ken Patera and Nature Boy Ric Flair. Dick Murdoch battles Kerry Von Erich. Dylan and Jaggers meet Bulldog Brown and Rocky Johnson. Jack Briscoe and Bobby Heenan clash. Sweetan and Lewis duel Gibbs and Jones. Huber faces Lawler. Tickets are on sale at the Arcade Building and the Checker Dome. The prices are $7, $6, $5, $4, and $3. Send mail orders now to the St. Louis Wrestling Club, Mezzanine 10 Arcade Building, St. Louis 63101. For thrills galore, be at the air-conditioned Checker Dome Friday, June 12th. Race squares off with DiBiase.
For all the color that surrounds Dusty Rhodes, I think really in the back of Dusty Rhodes' mind, there's one thing that counts most. And that's eventually getting back into the ring and having a crack at the gold belt. And I guess this is the town to come to try and get to that goal, Dusty.
You know, the American Dream be traveling all over the world, you understand? There is no finer place than right here. There's no finer group of people than right here. Now, Ric Flair can come out here and talking about how ugly the women are. Well, that ain't it, baby. That ain't it. Me and the Bruiser gonna get real funky. We gonna get real funky with Ric Flair and Ken Patera.
You know, that's the world's strongest man and a guy who's pretty tough despite his fancy robes and blonde hair.
That's right. They both tough, respected. They tough and hard to bluff. But the American Dream, let me tell you something. The big Wrestle Raw, Ted DiBiase, you got the chance of a lifetime. I have worn the gold. I know what it's like to wear the gold. And whether Ted DiBiase wins or whether Harley Race wins, it don't matter. Dusty Rhodes is for here for one reason, and that's to put that big gold strap around my beautiful body. You understand what I'm talking about?
Dusty, you mentioned the Wrestle Royal. Of course, you're going to be a partner with the Bruiser earlier in the evening. What happens in that Royal if it comes down to you and Dick the Bruiser as the last two men in the ring?
Dick the Bruiser is a legend. So all that has to be done when we win the Wrestle Royal is I'll just split the money with him, and we'll go out and get parted down, because I have in these two fists. These fists are like lightning bolts flashing from the sky. My legs are like electrified fusion. I wear afro sheen on my hair. I don't care if you're black, white, brown, green, or yellow. You all can get off on Dusty Rhodes, because I never had a dang thing until I went out and tried and reached for a dream. Now I'm here to stay. I did not come to play.
And I guess that means that all the people like Flair and Patera and Race and DiBiase better look out.
I'm going to leave you with this. Daddy. Harley Race, Ted DiBiase, think about it real hard. Because whichever one wins, you're going to turn around and you're going to see Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, the last surviving hero, the meanest man you ever seen, looking you in the eye, because St. Louis and the area has just got a great, brand new, big love affair going with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and it's going to be a funky situation.
Dusty Rhodes. Can you imagine him and Dick the Bruiser as partners? That will be something.
The first main event, a one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Knoxville, Tennessee, weighing 230 pounds, Ron Sexton. From Kansas City, Missouri, weighing 254 pounds, World Heavyweight Champion, Harley Race. Referee Lee Warren.
The world champion, Harley Race, squares off with Ron Sexton. And everybody in the studio is still buzzing about what Dusty Rhodes did and about what Dusty Rhodes had to say. I'll tell you one thing I got out of it, and I think he's absolutely correct. There's a big love affair starting here between Dusty Rhodes and all the many thousands of fans that enjoy wrestling, because Dusty Rhodes is just something different, something special, something unique. And I'm sure that Harley Race in the ring now against Ron Sexton and Ted DiBiase will be squaring off for the World Heavyweight Championship, know full well that Dusty Rhodes is going to be right there staring one of them in the eye. Of course, it's going to be a little bit crowded because there's going to be people like Ric Flair and Ken Patera and Dick the Bruiser and Rocky Johnson and Jack Briscoe and Kerry Von Erich and Dick Murdoch and so many more staring whoever has that gold belt in the eye. You can bet on it. Of course, you know Ted DiBiase is the Missouri State Champion, and it bears mentioning that if Ted DiBiase, as you watch Race slam Sexton, if Ted DiBiase dethrones Race as the world champion, Sexton, let's race for a body slam. Well, tit for tat from Ron Sexton. Arm drag by Sexton. If Race is knocked off the world throne by Ted DiBiase, DiBiase will have to relinquish the Missouri State title. The Missouri crown would then be vacant, and promoter Sam Muchnick would probably come up with a tournament of some sort involving a number of top wrestlers to fill that vacancy, to come up with a new Missouri State champion. I don't think I'll ask Harley Race if he would be in that tournament. I'm sure Race would say, I have no intention of needing to be in any tournament. Race throws Sexton away. Flying tackle. Oh, he doesn't get to deliver it because Race had that knee up in the air and drops Sexton with a high knee lift. Race, such a savvy ring general. Always knows where he is, what he's doing. Race yanks Sexton down to the mat, slamming him backwards and down. Race lining up Sexton, who took a hard spill. Knee drop right to the head by Race on Sexton. Sexton rolling in misery after taking that hard knee right to the forehead. Race drives Sexton head first into the top turnbuckle. Race pushing Sexton into that corner. Hard left cross by the world heavyweight champion Harley Race. He's right up there in the class with people like Strangler Lewis and Luthez when it comes to winning that gold belt. There aren't many who have been better, if any. Atomic knee drop by Race on Ron Sexton, jamming the tailbone down into his own knee. That will make that entire backbone tingle. Race covers Sexton. Sexton throws Race off. Race in early command against Sexton. Sexton tries to retreat, but the world champion's right on top of him. Harley Race looking sharp and tough and mean today. He's pounding on Sexton. A punch to the head knocks Sexton through the ropes and out of the ring. Sexton knocked right out of the ring by the world champion Harley Race. You talk about tough, you start with the world champion Harley Race. Race outside the ring after Sexton. Race grabs Sexton, and he tried to shove Sexton into that ring post. Sexton, though, pushed Race forward, and it was Race who collided with the steel ring post. A good move, maybe made in desperation by Sexton, but it buys him some time, and now Sexton trying to get to Race while Race tries to regain his bearings outside the ring. Maybe Mr. Race got a bit too cocky against Sexton, started to count him out when Ron Sexton still had plenty of spunk and fire left. Race bides his time getting back into that ring. He caught that post right in the shoulder. Loosens the shoulder up. Waits for Sexton to come to him. Sexton reaches inside and catches Race with a forearm smash. A second one. A third forearm smash by Ron Sexton. A knee lift. And down goes Race. Flying elbow drop by Sexton. He covers the world champion. Sexton thrown off by Race. And then Sexton hooks the arm of the world champion. Sexton twisting back on the left arm of Harley Race. There's a guy who came up the hard way. He's the exception that proves the rule, really, because so many guys now in professional wrestling are coming out of college with that tremendous 8-9-year amateur background, starting way back in high school, even junior high school. But Race came up the hard way. He was wrestling professionally when he was just a teenager. He took his lumps. Believe me, nobody took more beatings than Harley Race did in the first 4 or 5 years of his career. But slowly, surely, he learned the business. He learned what he could do. He learned what his body could take, and that body got harder every time out.
5 minutes have expired, 5 minutes left.
Today, I doubt there's anything that can happen inside a wrestling ring that hasn't happened to Race or he hasn't made happen. Side saddle suplex by Harley Race. He's been through the mill. He's paid his dues. And that's why that gold belt is so valuable to him. Ted DiBiase knows what it means to Harley Race as Race locks both arms of Sexton behind him and then takes him to the air with a suplex. The double arm suplex by Harley Race. Race lines up Sexton, poises that knee and bangs it into the head of Sexton. That is such a potent weapon of Harley Race. And of course you see things that Race started, that Race was the first to do, and many other wrestlers have copied. Some do it maybe as well, but none do it better than Harley Race. And there he is with Sexton up in the air. The suplex, poising him, making sure that he has full balance, full might, and he crashes Sexton backwards with that suplex. The world champion covers Sexton. Sexton isn't going anywhere. Harley Race pounding down and putting away Ron Sexton in fine fashion. He looks sharp. He is ready. Ted DiBiase, take note. That man is ready to defend the gold belt with his whole heart and being. Here's Mickey.
In 6 minutes and 2 seconds with the suplex, the winner, World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race. The second main event, an Australian tag team match. 2 out of 3 falls with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Newark, New Jersey, weighing 240 pounds, J.J. Dillon. From Phoenix, Arizona, weighing 235 pounds, Benny Romeo. From Omaha, Nebraska, weighing 247 pounds, Missouri State Champion Ted DiBiase. From Indianapolis, Indiana, weighing 236 pounds, Spike Hubert.
It's J.J. Dillon and Benny Romeo against Spike Huber and Ted DiBiase in a best-of-3 falls battle.
Boy, I don't know what corner you're supposed to go to.
Huber begins the action against J.J. Dillon. Huber and Dillon very cautious. Huber reaching out. Dillon hooks his head, pulls him to him. Very cautious break again. Huber and Dillon looking for openings on each other. Huber gives Dillon a shove. Dillon goes behind Spike. Spike switches nicely. He's behind Dillon. Dillon trying to sit out. He goes for the double wrist lock. Can't get it. Tried to hook that arm, just couldn't do it. Huber scooted away. Tag made to Benny Romeo. Romeo and Huber tie up. Nice takedown by Spike. Tries to cradle Romeo. Romeo gets to the ropes, and Chuck Riley asks for a break. Gets a clean one from Spike Huber. Romeo once more tries to tie up, but he doesn't get the chance because Huber puts him down with an arm drag. Makes a tag to the Missouri State King, Ted DiBiase. DiBiase pulling back on the arm of Romeo. Romeo pushes DiBiase to the ropes. Flying tackle by Ted DiBiase. Arm drag by Ted. He looks sharp. You know, we talked about how much the gold belt means to Harley Race. I think what it means to Ted DiBiase. Remember, his father, his late father, Mike DiBiase, was a national AAU champion, and he was the world junior heavyweight title. Mike DiBiase died in the ring. And I think at that time, more than ever, Ted DiBiase, who was just a teenager, dedicated himself to someday honoring his father's memory by having the gold belt, by being the world heavyweight champion, by being #1. And in that way, there is no better way that Ted could honor his father than to have that gold belt. Harley Race stands in the way. DiBiase has gone through Nature Boy Ric Flair, through Ox Baker, through Big John Studd, through Buzz Tyler, through the Kelly twins, through so many more to get where he is. And of course, you saw last week what happened the last time that DiBiase and Race were in a ring together. You saw how Ted DiBiase thought he was the world heavyweight champion, and only a fluke, a freak, a bizarre circumstance, and a totally unexpected happening saved the title for Harley Race, because he had thrown DiBiase over the top rope when the original referee was knocked out of the ring. The second referee came to the ring as DiBiase put Race's shoulders down on the mat and counted 3. He hit 3 just when the original referee called for the bell, meaning the match was a disqualification. DiBiase won the match, but Race kept the title due to a long-standing rule dating back into the 1930s that the champion cannot lose the title belt on a disqualification in the deciding fall. That stemmed from a match between Henri Deglane and Strangler Lewis in Montreal, Canada, when the title did change hands on a disqualification. There was such a furor about it and about the officiating and everything else that eventually the rule was changed. The title cannot change hands on disqualification in the final fall. It doesn't happen very often, very, very seldom, in fact. It saved Harley Race that night. Ted DiBiase intends to make no mistakes the next time he has Race in that ring. He wants to put Race away and walk out with wrestling's biggest prize. Flying tackle by DiBiase. A second flying tackle levels Dillon. Dillon ducks underneath. Oh, he was waiting. He was going to try to catch DiBiase by surprise, but Ted didn't give him the chance and scored with an arm drag. DiBiase twists that arm around, putting pressure into the wrist. Romeo from outside the ring yells encouragement to his partner, J.J. Dillon. Elbow smash into the shoulder by DiBiase. Tag made. Here comes Spike Huber. Huber and DiBiase working very smoothly together. Number of tags, trying to help their partner, have him in a good position when he comes into the ring. Huber taking advantage of that. He yanks J.J. Dillon down and comes up with an arm stretch on Dillon. Spike Huber stretching out on the arm of J.J. Dillon. Dillon trying to stand up and come out of the arm stretch. Dillon stepping over and uses his boot across the forehead of Huber. Oh, Huber shaking a bit from that attack to his face. Here comes Romeo with a forearm smash. Romeo pounding away on Huber. Arm locked by Romeo. Twists that arm around. Huber tries to pull away. Romeo doggedly hangs in there. Huber kicks Romeo off.
5 minutes have expired, 15 minutes left.
Good thinking right there by Spike Huber. He tagged the fresh man, Ted DiBiase, and DiBiase goes to work on Benny Romeo, dropping him with an elbow. DiBiase lifts Romeo. Body slam by the Missouri State King. Flying elbow drop by DiBiase on Romeo. Count of 1. DiBiase thrown away. And then he hooks the arm of Benny Romeo, trying to ride him down. There are bitter feelings, needless to say, between DiBiase and Race, and I'll tell you some other bitter feelings we should mention are those that are between Kerry Von Erich and Dick Murdoch. You know, Murdoch and Von Raschke pulled off something of an upset recently when they defeated David and Kerry Von Erich, and Kerry Von Erich blames himself completely for that setback. During a squabble inside the ring, Kerry was the outside man. He jumped in, blew his top, lost his temper. The referees tried to force him back, and while they were doing that, Murdoch took advantage of the distraction to jump off the top rope onto David Von Erich and to pin David Von Erich. Kerry blamed himself afterwards, and according to Kerry, he has some bills to pay. One debt to his brother David for causing a distraction that put David in a very vulnerable position, which Murdoch took advantage of. And some other debt, another debt has to be paid to Dick Murdoch by Kerry Von Erich, because as far as Kerry's concerned, Murdoch deliberately tried to injure his brother, and he feels there are some amends to be made there to Mr. Murdoch. The only thing Kerry has to be careful of is that he doesn't lose his temper when he's in there with Dick Murdoch, because if the match turns into a brawl, a back alley, knock him down, drag him out Donnybrook, well, that's the kind of match that Dick Murdoch likes. There's a lot at stake there, because either one of them would make a fine challenger for either the World Heavyweight or the Missouri State title. Nice takedown by Spike Huber, pitching Romeo to the mat. Huber pulls back on the arm, goes to the double wrist lock on Romeo. Romeo reaching up behind Huber. He was close to the hair. Huber twisting that arm. He can almost go to a hammerlock from there, or he can stay in the double wrist lock. He uses the elbow and shifts around an arm lock. That's it, Spike. Make a liar out of me. But it shows how many different holds you can do from one position. Spike Huber taking advantage of that fact, not letting Romeo set himself. Romeo, knowing he was having some trouble, began pounding on Huber, and now he tags J.J. Dillon and sets Huber up for Dillon. Dillon pounding on Huber. Dillon with a punch to the jaw. Forearm smash by Huber, but then Dillon works on the face. Huber tries to get to DiBiase. Dillon cuts him off. Dillon lifts Huber. Hard body slam from J.J. Dillon. He covers Huber. Oh, Dillon bench pressed off the top by Spike Huber. Tag made to Benny Romeo. Romeo pulls Huber to the corner and slams Huber head first into the turnbuckle. DiBiase steps into the ring, wants to come over and help his partner. The outside referee, Lee Warren, chases DiBiase back where he belongs. Here comes J.J. Dillon into the ring, a hard kick from Dillon. Dillon on the neck of Huber with that elbow. A punch to the mouth of Spike Huber by J.J. Dillon. Dillon lifts Huber. Huber skips behind him and tags Ted DiBiase. DiBiase comes into the ring and he tears into J.J. Dillon. Flying Veal by the Missouri State champion. Drop kick by Ted DiBiase. DiBiase with a flying mare on J.J. Dillon. Oh, knee drop across the chest. If it had been the throat, would have been an automatic disqualification, but it was right on the chest. It was legal. DiBiase catches Romeo coming off. Falling body slam. DiBiase with a spinning toe hold. And into the figure four leg lock. The figure four leg lock by Ted DiBiase on Benny Romeo. Yanking back, jerking on the ligaments and the cartilage. Romeo crying out in pain. The same figure four leg lock that put Ken Batera in the hospital for knee surgery. And it records the first fall of this match for the team of Ted DiBiase and Spike Huber against J.J. Dillon and Benny Romeo. Let's hear the time from Mickey Garagiola.
The winner of the first fall in 9 minutes and 4 seconds with a figure four, the team of Ted DiBiase and Spike Huber.
Benny Romeo, who was caught in that figure four leg lock to end the first fall, seems to be having some problem with his knee. J.J. Dillon tried to work on the knee during the rest period, and Bobby Jaggers has come out to ringside. Jaggers holding on to the leg of Benny Romeo. That knee, well, I'll tell you, that figure four leg lock has put a lot of people into hospitals. There's no question about that. It happened to Ken Batera. Dillon charges after DiBiase. J.J. Dillon pounding on Ted DiBiase. And Romeo obviously can't continue. He's on one leg, and Bobby Jaggers helping carry Romeo out of the ring. Romeo being carried back to the dressing room, and J.J. Dillon is by himself. against Ted DiBiase and Spike Huber. DiBiase drops Dillon with a kick. Don't forget it's a best-of-3 falls match. DiBiase and Huber have already won 1 fall. And that figure 4 leg lock can do the damage. Ask Ken Patera. Now you can ask Benny Romeo. Drop kick by DiBiase on Dillon. Dillon looking for a partner, and he hasn't got one. He reached out to make a tag, but there was nobody to tag. He's on his own, alone against Ted DiBiase and Spike Huber. Here comes Huber. Body slam by Huber on J.J. Dillon. Huber covers Dillon. Count of 1. Dillon throws Huber off. And again, there's that empty corner. Dillon looking for a tag. The crowd hoots and hollers. We now have a handicap tag match. That's what it comes down to. Dillon says he's tough. We'll find out. And here comes Harley Race. Race coming down to ringside. He's walking around the ring. He's yelling something to Dillon. I think he was, but I'll be your partner, says Harley Race. The referee's chasing Race out. He's got no business in there. The referee's telling Race he has no business in the ring. Benny Romeo, Dillon's original partner, was injured. Huber charging after Dillon. Oh, Race grabbing Huber from outside the ring, dumps him. Now the referees go outside the ring trying to chase him back. Dillon on his own against Huber and DiBiase. Tag made to DiBiase. Race arguing with Lee Warren outside the ring. Here comes Sam Muchnick down to ringside. And Sam Muchnick going after Race to try and get Harley Race out of there. Sam and Harley Race to the far corner of the ring. Maybe we can get a shot of him. Race yelling at Muchnick. I'm sure he's complaining about why Dillon should have to be alone. Why should he have to be in a handicap tag match just because his partner is injured? Muchnick said, okay. Sam Muchnick approving Harley Race to be the partner of J.J. Dillon. I assume that's what happened. Yes, he said okay. Lee Warren nodding. Race, okay, Race is the partner of J.J. Dillon. DiBiase taking his lumps, and there's a tag made to Harley Race. Dillon thrown away. I don't know if DiBiase knows Race is in there. Oh, Dillon! Dillon crashes right into Harley Race, knocking him right over the top rope. There's DiBiase going for the figure 4 leg lock. DiBiase with the figure 4 on J.J. Dillon. DiBiase, who's already crippled Benny Romeo, with the figure 4 leg lock on Dillon. Here comes Race on the top rope. Race on the top rope. Diving headbutt from the top rope by Harley Race. The referees call for the bell, and I'm sure that Race has been disqualified for diving onto Ted DiBiase from the top rope. DiBiase sees Race there, and DiBiase is after Race. DiBiase is after Race. DiBiase pounding on the world champion. He knocks Race through the ropes and onto the apron. DiBiase, after Race outside, slams him head first into the steel ring post. Ted looked up and saw that Race was on that top rope. Race diving off the top rope to get DiBiase. Race is bleeding. Race is bleeding. DiBiase has pounded open the head of Harley Race. Race is bleeding. Ted DiBiase shoves the referee away, knocks Riley down. DiBiase pounding on the world champion. DiBiase whips Race to the rope. Catches him coming off with a backflip. Race has already been disqualified. The match is officially over. But Race going after taking a battering from DiBiase again. Race knocked clear over the top rope by Ted DiBiase. DiBiase, a man possessed, when he saw Race come off the top rope. Clearly an attempt to injure Ted DiBiase. It backfired on Race. Oh, Race head first into the steel ring post by the Missouri champion, Ted DiBiase. Race has been injured by DiBiase. Race getting pounded. Look out! Race. DiBiase trying to be restrained by Huber, Warren, and Chuck Riley. DiBiase pounding Race right out of the building, running him clear back to the dressing room. Race wanted to be the partner for J.J. Dillon after Romeo was hurt. He was knocked out of the ring. DiBiase got the figure 4 on the world champion. The world champion dived off the top rope. Here comes Pat O'Connor down to try and help calm DiBiase. O'Connor, of course, the assistant to promoter Sam Muchnick. O'Connor trying to calm DiBiase and Huber. Well, you saw it. The official verdict is that Race was disqualified for jumping off the top rope. The winners of the match then in 2 straight falls are DiBiase and Huber. And here's Mickey going to make the official announcement. DiBiase and Huber win it in 2 straight falls. Here's Mickey.
in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Referee Chuck Riley disqualifies race, so the winner of the 2 falls and the match, Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase and Spike Hubert.
Bearings, and look again at what just happened. There's Harley Race outside the ring with promoter Sam Muchnick after J.J. Dillon's original partner had been injured by the figure 4 leg lock of DiBiase. Sam Muchnick approved Race to go in the ring as Dillon's partner. Dillon was by himself, 2 against 1. Certainly not a fair situation. He hadn't requested any handicap tag match, and naturally Dillon wanted a partner. Race saw what had happened. He saw who had put the man out of commission. Naturally, he came down and offered his help. There was the tag made to Race. Dillon thrown off the ropes. DiBiase over the top, and Dillon crashing right into Race, knocking Race over the top rope. DiBiase not realizing, I guess, that Race was the legal man in the ring. Obviously, he didn't. He didn't see the tag. He goes for the figure 4 leg lock on Dillon. If he can keep Dillon in that figure 4 and make him submit, it'd be 2 straight falls. But look at the top of your screen. There goes Harley Race. He sees what's happening, and from the top rope, he's not worried about disqualification here. He's trying to hurt Ted DiBiase with that diving headbutt. The referees call for the bell, the disqualification. DiBiase, looking at what's happened, he throws the referee aside. He realizes now what Race has tried to do, and he tears into Harley Race. Ted DiBiase pounding on the world champion, knocking him through the ropes. DiBiase crawling right out after Harley Race. The match is officially over. Race asked for this, Donnybrook, apparently. That's the way DiBiase looked at it, by Race diving off the top rope. And DiBiase going right after Race, not backing up an inch, not backing up a bit. He pounds on Race, and it was about there that you'll be able to see the blood coming out of the forehead of Race, because DiBiase was pounding on that head. DiBiase waiting for Race to get up. There goes the referee, knocked aside and down by the anger, the infuriated Ted DiBiase, pounding on the world champion's head. Watch as Race spins around in slow motion. You can see the blood, the cut open up on Race's head. DiBiase whipping him to the ropes, back flipping him high into the air. Race staggering around. DiBiase just a man possessed, a man intent, a man determined to go after the world champion, knocking Race out of the ring over the top rope. DiBiase still not able, they're still not able to stop him, still not able to restrain him. DiBiase going outside the ring, grabbing Race by the hair and lining him up with that steel ring post. There's still blood all over the post now where Race's head banged into that post. DiBiase just infuriated, out of control, teaching Harley Race a lesson right here, pounding on him outside the ring, slamming him into the table, dismantling ringside, still pounding on Race, and there goes Race heading for the dressing room. The referee's trying to restrain DiBiase.
For the record, here's what happened at the Checker Dome before over 16,000 fans on June 12, 1981. Spike Hubert flattened Steve Lawler. Rufus R. Jones and Terry Gibbs won from Gene Lewis and Bob Sweetan. Jack Briscoe defeated Bobby Heenan. Rocky Johnson and Bulldog Bob Brown took the measure of J.J. Dillon and Buzz Tyler. Dick Murdoch and Kerry Von Erich were both counted out outside the ring. Dick the Bruiser and Dusty Rhodes won by disqualification from Ken Patera and Ric Flair. Pat O'Connor was the surprise winner of an 18-man battle royal, and Harley Race retained the World Heavyweight Championship by winning a sensational 2 out of 3 falls duel from Ted DiBiase. What a night it was. Even more action is on tap with Volume 7 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. David Von Erich versus Harley Race. Kerry Von Erich versus Greg the Hammer Valentine. Ken Patera versus Dewey Robertson. Bulldog Bob Brown versus Von Raschke. Plus Jack Briscoe, Bobo Brazil, Spike Hubert, Rocky Johnson, and more. Every time out, Classic St. Louis Wrestling proves why St. Louis was so special in the wrestling world. Wasn't it great? Till next time, so long. This is Larry Matysik saying goodbye.
Brody, Dory Jr., both masks of blood. Brody and Dory Jr. Forearm uppercuts by Dory Funk Jr. Kikuchi trying to get everybody back. Dory Jr. pounding on Brody. Here's his opening. Wild punches by Dory Jr. and by Brody. Oh, that blow landed on Dory Jr. and on Joe Higuchi. Small package by Dory Funk Jr. to try for the pin. Where's the referee? Here comes Higuchi. Count of 2, and Brody breaks free. Both men bleeding.
The main event, a 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Kenosha, Wisconsin, weighing 234 pounds, Ben DeLeon. From Omaha, Nebraska, weighing 245 pounds, the Missouri State champion, Ted DiBiase.
Ben DeLeon takes on Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase. The man who relieved Ken Patera of the state crown and is in possession of the Missouri Laurels for the second time in his young, short, and brilliant career. DiBiase forced to the ropes by Ben DeLeon. A clean break from DeLeon. DiBiase finds DeLeon behind him. Ted switches nicely. Sit out by DeLeon. DiBiase riding. DeLeon, good move, gets the arm. Arm drag by Ben DeLeon. Head scissors by Ted DiBiase, and DeLeon manages to slip away. Fast movement by both Ben DeLeon and Ted DiBiase. And how about that Big John Studd? He promises that he will lift Andre the Giant during that Wrestle Royal. Well, now, that is something to wait and see. That would be quite a spectacle. I can't recall anyone having lifted Andre the Giant off his feet to slam him. Now, he's been eliminated a few times in Wrestle Royals when 4 or 5 guys ganged up on him, a couple guys on each leg, and they managed to lift him over and dump him over the top rope. But Big John Studd, I don't think he's looking for help. He intends to do it himself. And he's as much as written off Kevin Von Erich. He intends to beat up Kevin Von Erich as an insult to Kevin's father, Fritz. Big man, big words. We'll see if he can back him up. It's Ted DiBiase against Ben DeLeon. Remember, in that Wrestle Royal, all 16 wrestlers go into the ring at one time. Each man is on his own. A wrestler is eliminated by being thrown over the top rope. The lone survivor in the ring is the winner and collects a lucrative prize made up of entry fees matched by amounts from the St. Louis Wrestling Club. Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase eyes Ben DeLeon, whose quickness seems to have surprised Ted just a little bit. But he's a thinking wrestler, an intelligent wrestler. He knows how to adjust. He knows so many different things, so many different maneuvers, offensive and defensive, that he can use. He adjusts in that ring beautifully. The wrestler's wrestler, Ted DiBiase. Good move. Side headlock, and DeLeon is trapped to the mat by Ted DiBiase. So smooth. You can't help but admire this guy's wrestling ability, Ted DiBiase. You can't help but like him personally. Fine young man, fine personality, well liked by everyone in all aspects of wrestling. Of course, wrestling has been his life, you know. His father, Iron Mike DiBiase, was a former national AAU champion. He also won the World Junior Heavyweight title as a professional, and he died in the ring, Mike DiBiase did. And I guess that's something that's etched in the memory of Ted DiBiase, something obviously he can never forget. Wrestling is born to this man, Ted DiBiase. Hip toss by DiBiase. DeLeon tried to flip DiBiase. Ted blocked it nicely, countered with a hip toss of his own. DeLeon is the one who's a bit baffled right now that a man as big as DiBiase, about 6'4", 6'5", 245 pounds, can move so quickly. Side headlock by DiBiase. Talk about people wanting a crack at the World Heavyweight Championship, belonging now to Harley Race. Big John Studd certainly made his point that he intends to get to Race. Well, certainly Ted DiBiase is in the hunt for that. And according to promoter Sam Muchnick, DiBiase might be right at the head of the pack right now. Of course, things change, and I'm sure Sam Muchnick has an open mind. You never know what other star might come up with some spectacular victory that could change the situation. But right now, I think you'd have to agree that Ted DiBiase is probably the leading contender for a crack at the World Heavyweight title at this time. Things change, though. Matches every night all over the country. You never know what can happen. Maybe Harley Race won't even be the world champion in another week or two. Anything can happen. DeLeon leans into DiBiase, tosses him across the ring. Flying tackle levels DeLeon. Oh, beautiful move by DiBiase. He almost got the pin with the small package. DeLeon was going to try to flip DiBiase. Did you see Ted just stop cold, bang, just like that, and roll DeLeon into the front rolling cradle? He nearly got a pin. High fireman's carry by Ben DeLeon. Good move. Head scissors by DiBiase. He has the answer for almost everything in that ring. I'm going to ask people like King Kong Brody and Ox Baker and Ken Patera. They're all among the victims of Ted DiBiase. Good-looking young man who can back it up. When the going gets tough, believe me, he can get going. Want to wrestle? Want to trade holds? Want to trade leverages, balances, takedowns, escapes? He can do that. You want to get into Donnybrook? You want to trade punches and kicks? He can do that too. And DeLeon is issuing the invitation right now.
5 minutes have expired, 5 minutes left.
Ben DeLeon pounds on DiBiase in the corner. Great opportunity here for DeLeon to knock off the Missouri champion. DiBiase reverses the whip. Hard slash to the throat. Forearm smash to the cheekbone. DeLeon whip to the ropes. Elbow smash to the chin. Flying elbow drop by DiBiase. Count of one, count of two. DeLeon manages to get that shoulder up, but DiBiase is right on top of him. He lifts DeLeon. Falling body slam by Ted DiBiase. Spinning toe hold into the figure four leg lock. The figure four leg lock by Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase. DeLeon trapped in the center of the ring, and Ben DeLeon submits. Ben DeLeon gives his concession, and Ted DiBiase, the Missouri State champion, is victorious. That brings this capacity crowd to their feet, clapping and yelling in praise of Ted DiBiase. Let's hear from Mickey.
In 5 minutes and 46 seconds with the spinning with figure four, the winner, Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase. The fourth match, most falls to curfew. Introducing from Denton, Texas, weighing 236 pounds, David Von Erich. And from Madison, Wisconsin, weighing 234 pounds, Bobby Van.
It's most falls to curfew as Bobby Van opposes David Von Erich. David Von Erich, perhaps a future tag team partner for Gene Kiniski. That's something you have to mull over a little bit. Give that some thought. Bobby Van forces David Von Erich to the ropes. Clean break by Van. Partially because Chuck Riley was yelling in Van's ear. Partially because David Von Erich had a fist poised. David with a wrist lock on Van. Van pulls the hair of David Von Erich, and that upsets David. Maybe the key part of that whole session with Gene Kiniski, and I do say session because it was certainly all Gene Kiniski. He'll get off when he's good and ready, as he pointed out to us, and I hope Jim Winkle, our director, was listening. However, the thing that Kiniski said, he says, as long as they listen to me and follow my instructions to a T, I think the Von Erichs are pretty much able to adapt on their own. They certainly had good training from their father, Fritz. But we shall see. It would certainly be a devastating combination with the rough tactics, the experience, the speed, and the good wrestling of Gene Kiniski pairing with the dynamic youth and explosiveness of David and Kevin Von Erich. That could be an unbeatable combination, I'll guarantee you that. We shall see. David trying to bridge and lift his leg out of trouble. Gets a foot underneath the chin of Van, and Van is kicked away by David Von Erich. Van obviously trying to slow down Von Erich by working on David's legs. Again, Van goes for the leg of David Von Erich. Promoter Sam Muchnick has his work cut out for him, doesn't he? Possibly trying to line up the tag team combination, the Von Erich boys with Kiniski, trying to pin down Dick Murdoch so that Murdoch hopefully will risk the Missouri State title against Dory Funk Jr. He's already come up with one headline announcement, certainly Andre the Giant against King Kong Brody, plus a big 16-man Wrestle Royal. Of course, Andre has won the last two Wrestle Royals in St. Louis as you watch David Von Erich take the leverage and the hold away from Bobby Van. David Von Erich with a body drop into the knee. David yanks that leg over. The crowd urges on David Von Erich, who then ties up the toe. A toe hold leg lock combination by David Von Erich. The match between Brody and Andre is obviously very critical, especially for Brody, who wants a crack at the World Heavyweight Championship. And he'd take a shot at the Missouri State title, too. He's no big admirer of Dick Murdoch, believe me. But more importantly, Brody has a key spot maybe in determining what could happen in that Wrestle Royal. Because obviously, in the Wrestle Royal, Andre's the man to beat. Anybody who weighs 475 pounds is the man to beat. You got to get him out if you're going to win. David Von Erich getting on top of Bobby Van. His temper getting a bit frayed, but David restrains himself and doesn't throw a punch at Bobby Van, who is obviously getting underneath the skin of David Von Erich. On that Wrestle Royal, if Brody can maybe do enough damage to Andre the Giant during their match, it might be a lot easier for someone or some combination of people, which is probably what it would take, to pitch Andre over the top rope during the Royal. So Brody can do himself a lot of good against Andre one-on-one, but also maybe softening Andre up for the Wrestle Royal later that evening.
Yeah, Brody's going to have to go out and campaign and get a couple of boys to help him out.
Brody doesn't think so.
Royal.
Not Brody doesn't think so. King Kong wants to do it himself. I'll tell you one thing for Andre the Giant. He better be ready for anything.
Well, that's what's interesting about a Wrestle Royal. You know, you get all those fellas in there, and if Mr. Brody decides to take Andre might have a couple of his boys on his side helping him out. So it's really interesting to watch that.
Partnerships tend to change in a Wrestle Royal. Each man's on his own, and a wrestler's eliminated by being thrown over the top rope. Sole survivor in the ring. The winner as Bobby Van goes for a trip and catches a drop kick from David Von Erich. Count of 1 at 2. Van throws off Von Erich. David twists the arm of Bobby Van. That ring's going to be mighty small. Andre takes up plenty of room himself. We'll have to see who else is involved in that 16-man Wrestle Royal. You can be assured it's going to be an all-star lineup. Just look at the people already in the card with Andre, Brody, Dory Funk Jr., hopefully Dick Murdoch. Typical. Normal for St. Louis. Look at today's program. Kevin Von Erich, King Kong Brody, Gene Kaniski, David Von Erich now against Bobby Van. And Roger Kirby picked up a feather in his cap as he held Kevin Von Erich to stalemate today. Although Kirby was caught in the stomach claw when the bell rang, he got a draw. That's how it goes down the record books. Van moves behind David Von Erich. David counters and comes up with an arm bar on Bobby Van. You know, you should definitely come down and join us in person for Wrestling at the Chase. Be part of the excitement like we've had today. To get tickets, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Wrestling Tickets, KPLR TV, St. Louis, Missouri, 63108. That address again is Wrestling Tickets, KPLR TV, St. Louis, 63108.
5 minutes left, 5 minutes.
Remember, the self-addressed stamped envelope must be enclosed with sufficient postage or you will receive no tickets as Bobby Van batters David Von Erich in the corner and then whips David across the ring into the buckles. Van strangling David Von Erich. Chuck Riley angrily balls out Bobby Van, and then David Von Erich kicks Van and knocks him across the ring. David Von Erich after Bobby Van. And David plants a foot against the throat of Van. At the count of 4, David breaks it up. He was in one count of being disqualified and losing the first fall. That would have made Gene Kaniski happy. Using the rule book, not abusing it, using it, breaking just in time. David Von Erich whips Van across the ring and into the buckles and almost over the top rope. We should mention on the attendance for Wrestling at the Chase, due to limited space here in the studio, attendance for the TV matches only is restricted to those 16 years of age or older. Of course, no age requirements for Wrestling at Kiel Auditorium. Also, seating for Wrestling at the Chase is first come, first served until capacity is reached. Send for those tickets now. Be part of all this excitement here in the KPLR TV studio. Be patient, too, because there are a lot of requests, and those requests will be filled as soon as possible. But it's going to take a little time, so be patient. Bobby Van again strangling David Von Erich. David throws a punch at Van. Van wades in with a blow to the stomach, and now David grabs Van right by the throat. Van's eyes bugged out when David Von Erich grabbed him by the windpipe. Knee lift by David Von Erich spins Van to the mat. Knee drop to the chest by David. David mounts the ropes. Knee drop again off the second rope by David Von Erich. Van scores with a blow to the stomach. Elbow to the neck by Bobby Van. Van's giving David quite a battle. He slams David's head into the top turnbuckle. Von Erich again tossed to the corner. He managed to avoid the buckles, though. Van again whips. Oh, and David reversed it. David reverses it. Throws Van into the corner, then pounds away on Van. Goes for the claw. Van blocked it. Van blocked the attempt at the iron claw by David Von Erich, but he didn't get away from that one. David with the iron claw on Bobby Van. David David grinding away with the claw. Van close to the ropes. He may not realize how close he is, though.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
Van manages to get his leg underneath the ropes, and that will force David Von Erich to break the iron claw. Or will it? David drags Van to the center of the ring with the claw. He's still going to have to break the claw, though. Van bound to be groggy now after the iron claw by David Von Erich, and the crowd wants to see the claw again. Drop kick by David. Van coming up very slowly. David with another drop kick. Van dazed. Von Erich with a jackknife rolls Van into the cradle. Can he keep the arms away from the ropes? He's got the wrists. And Von Erich gets the pin with a jackknife and cradle. That's the first fall. We'll have to take a look at the clock and see if it's enough to end the match. Is there still time remaining? There will be some time for another fall, but Bobby Van has it against him. He's down 1 fall to none. Here's Mick.
With time running out, the winner of the only fall and the match, David Von Erich.
In the excitement of the moment, Mickey inadvertently said that David Von Erich was the winner of the fall of the match with time running out, but it's not exactly the case because there's about a minute remaining, and Bobby Van can still even this match at a fall apiece, but he's going to have to turn on the offense and turn it on quickly because David Von Erich has 1 fall, roughly a minute remaining. David goes for the leg and drops Bobby Van. David with a body drop into the leg. Well, the best defense is a good offense. That's obviously the thought of David Von Erich as he quickly gets Van on the mat and clamps on a step-over toe hold. Count of 1 on the shoulders of Bobby Van as David tries to protect his lead of 1 fall. Van trying to spread the legs of David Von Erich and throw him off balance a little bit. Look where his foot is against David's foot. But David's legs were so long, Van couldn't do it. Helps to be 6'7", I'll guarantee you that. David really leaning into that toe hold now. Van crying out as David pours on the pressure. Van manages to kick David away. But David quickly on the attack again, drives the knee to the stomach of Bobby Van. Van fights back, and David stands up to the task. He'll take that challenge. That should make Gene Kiniski happy too. No wonder Kiniski wants to team with the Von Erich boys. There's the iron claw. The iron claw by David Von Erich. He had it just for a second. Van's head managed to slip away. And David Von Erich puts on the claw again, but the match is officially over. And this time, the only fall within the curfew belongs to David Von Erich. David Von Erich has the win over Bobby Van. Let's hear from Mickey.
The winner of the match, David Von Erich.
David Von Erich has a victory in his pocket, taking the only fall within the curfew from Bobby Van. Be sure to join us again next weekend for more Wrestling at the Chase, late Saturday, Sunday.